Hey, how's it going, guys? In this video, we're going to learn how to upload large files to OneDrive with Microsoft Graph API in Python. Alright, so I want to dive into the documentation first. So to upload a large file to OneDrive, it's a two-step process using the API. The first phase is going to be, we're going to create an upload session. And the second phase is going to be uploading the file to the upload session. And it's just going to be like a container. So I tried these 4 endpoints, and apparently only 2 endpoints are working. And I'll show you which endpoints are working. As for the permission scopes, we can use the files.readWrite scope, readWrite.o scope, and the sites.readWrite.o scope. And here's an example of the request body. And let's see. Right, so that's pretty much it. If you look at the example, unfortunately the example only shows you the first portion of the step, which is uploading the first chunk. And since you will be uploading a large file, that means that there will be multiple chunks. The documentation didn't show the remaining steps, unfortunately. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I guess that's going to be all. Okay, so let's dive into the tutorial. And before we dive into the script, make sure that you download the source code to this msgraph.py file. Alright, so in my script, I'm going to import the OS module and let me increase the font size. Alright, so I'll be using this report.pbx file as an example. Alright, so from the import statement, I'm going to import the OS module. And to make an API call, I'm going to import the requests library. And from msgraph, I'm going to import the generate access token function and the graph API endpoint URL. Alright, so I already insert my app ID. I'm going to create my scopes. I'm going to use the files.readWrite scope. Alright, so for step 1, we're going to generate the access token. And here I'm going to insert the generate access token function. And I'll provide my app ID and the scopes. And this should be generate. And once I obtain the access token, I can create my headers object. And it's going to be authorization, bear, space, and the access token. Alright, so let me go ahead and run this code block to obtain the access token. As for the file, so I'm going to grab the file path. And let's go to step 2. And it's going to be step 2.1. Actually, let's name this as step 2.1 and step 2.2. Alright, so here I'm going to create 2 variables. One variable is going to be the full file path. And the file name is going to be should be report2.pbix. Let me just double check. Oh, there's no 2. And from the file path, I want to extract the file name using the os.path.basename function. And here I'm going to insert a routine to check if the file exists. So I'm going to say, if not, os.path.exists. Inside the function, I'm going to insert the file path. And if the file is not found, I want to raise an exception. And for the end message, I'm going to insert the file name. It's not found. Otherwise, I'm going to load the file. And I'll name this as upload. And here I want to extract the byte string of the file. And I'll name the output as content, media content. And from upload.read. Let's see. Actually, let's make this as step 2. Read the file. And it's going to be step 3. Now, if we go back to the documentation, and if we look at the request body, so here we have the option to include the metadata of the file. We can include things like description, and if the file already exists, then how do you want to deal with the issue? And we need to attach the request body to the item field. Alright, so let's do this. I'm going to create my request body, just an example. Alright, so inside the dictionary, the field name is going to be item. And for this demonstration, I'm going to provide a description to the file. And for the description, I'm going to say a large upload file. Actually, let's do a large file. And we need to attach the file name. That's going to be everything I'm going to provide. And for the file, I want to upload the file to my lessons folder. So in the URL, I want to grab the folder's ID. So it's going to be the value of this ID property. And let me create the variable. Right, so when I say upload a large file, so depending on your internet speed, I have pretty good success with files less than 400 megabytes. But if a file size is greater than 400 megabytes, then we need to split the file into multiple chunks. And the difference between step 3.1 and step 3.2 is step 3.1 requires one single session, whereas step 3.2 requires multiple sessions to upload the file onto OneDrive's server. Right, so here I'm going to make a post request, and it's going to be, let's do this. Actually, that's fine. And it's going to be create an upload session. And the endpoint is going to be Graph API endpoint. And let's go back to the documentation. So from the endpoint, we need to use the second endpoint, which is going to be this one here. And since I'm uploading a file to my own OneDrive account, here I'm going to replace drives with me. And I'll change this to drive. Items, followed by the folder ID, followed by the file name. Then we need to attach the headers. And for the request body, we're going to assign the dictionary to JSON's parameter. And I'll name the output as response upload session. Alright, so let me go ahead and run this code block. Oh, file name is not created. Let me take a look. Okay. Now let me rerun the code block. Right, so if I print response upload session, this should be .json. The response is going to return a couple things. The timestamp when the session is going to be expired, and the file chunk range, and the upload URL. So here I'm going to insert try except block. From the response upload session object, I want to reference the JSON output. Then I want to grab the upload URL. And I'll name the output as upload URL. So basically, this URL was kind of like a temporary storage. And we're going to upload our file to this storage. And then OneDrive server is going to recognize the file and transfer the file from their server to our own OneDrive account or OneDrive folder. Now I need to make another request code, and it's going to be a put request. And I'm going to, and the destination is going to be upload URL. And to upload the file, we're going to assign data with media content. And I'll name the output as response upload status. And once the upload is complete, I want to print the file path. And the upload status. If we run into any exception, then I want to print the error message. So let me create a new file, and I'll name the file demo2. Right, so let me go ahead and terminate this session. Now put the window and the script side by side. Now if I run the script, so here I have the file path and the upload status. Right, so if I refresh my page, and here's the report file. Now let me delete this file. Now I want to go to the second example, which is going to be upload a really large file. And I'm going to grab the code block from, let's see. Let me delete this line first. From line 39 to the import statement. Alright, so if we want to upload a really large file, basically a file that is larger than 300 or 400 megabytes, depending on your internet speed. And the upload process is going to be pretty similar, except that here we need to chunk the file into multiple pieces. Alright, so I'm going to grab the context manager. Actually, let's grab these 4 lines. And I'll move that to step 3.2 to here. And I'll move the variable to the top. Alright, so here from the context manager, let me delete this line here. I'm going to start everything from scratch. I need to grab the file size first. And I'll name this as total file size. And I can grab the file size using the os.path.getSize function. And I'll insert the file path. And for the chunk size, here let's go back to the documentation. Alright, so right here, for the chunk size, it needs to be 327,680 bytes per chunk size. And this is the requirement set by OneDrive API. So I'm going to copy the chunk size, and I'll name that as chunk size. Then we need to figure out how many sessions are required to upload the file. And we can get that number by referencing total file size divided by chunk size, well, the remainder. And because each file size is going to be different, so we're going to get a leftover from the division operation, the last chunk size of the last session. And it's going to be total file size minus chunk size times chunk number. Then I need to create a counter to track the session upload. Alright, so here I'm going to insert a while loop. I'm going to say while true. And we're going to grab the byte string of the first chunk. And let's name this as chunk data. Then I'm going to grab the beginning index, and it's going to be counter times chunk size. And the end index, and it's going to be start index plus the chunk size. Then we're going to insert an if condition. If not chunk, then we want to break the operation. And also, if the counter number is equals to chunk number, then we know this is going to be the last session. Then we're going to grab the start index plus the chunk leftover value. Now let's prepare for the request call. So first we need to create a headers object. Inside the headers object, we need to specify the content length. And it's going to be the chunk size. Then we need to specify the content range. And it's going to be the byte strings location. And we also need to specify the total size of the file. Let's just do this. I'll make this as f string, and this will be start index, and it's going to be end index. And we need to subtract the value by 1. And this will be total file size. Now we can make a request call to upload the file. And it's going to be request.put upload URL. And where's my URL? Let me take a look. The variable should go here. And I also need to grab this code block, and which I forgot. Is that right? Upload session. Yep, that should be right. And we don't need this line here. The upload URL is the only thing we need. And here means the exception block. And for this, I'm going to just print the error message. And here we name the output as chunk data upload status. And I'm going to assign chunk data to the data parameter. And I'll put the headers here. Alright, so let's do this. I'm going to print a message, upload progress. That format. And the value is going to be chunk data. Upload status .json, and from the JSON response, I want to reference next expected ranges key. Then I can increase the counter by 1. And just in case, if you want to cancel the session, you can create another separate Python script, and you can make a delete request. And it will insert the upload URL to cancel the upload session. Right, so that's going to be the entire script, and it's a bit more complicated than the first example. Right, so let me run the script just for a test run. Oh, so here I have a typo. Right, so here I got a key error, but I can see that the file is uploaded, and here's the file. Now let me fix the script real quick. Alright, so I'm going to do this. Here, let me print the JSON output from the chunk data upload status. And I know when the file upload is complete, we're going to get this create by keyword. So I'm going to insert a try block here, and I'm going to check if this keyword created by is in the JSON response. Then I want to print the file metadata response. I should also do file upload complete. Otherwise, we're going to print the file upload progress or status, and that should be it. Right, so to do one more testing, I'm going to use one PNG file for the testing. Right, so here I get the message, file upload complete. Now just in case, if I go back to my OneDrive, and here's the file, and the timestamp is less than a minute ago, which is the this upload session that I just ran. Alright, so this is going to be everything I'm going to cover in this video, and hopefully you guys found this video useful. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.